I'd love to present our first speaker to the stage. We're going to have Oleg Smagin, the Director of Web3 Businesses for MOOI Network, who's going to tell us a bit about their path and their plans for Web3. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Itai. Okay, good morning, everyone. Thanks for coming. I know it's a little bit too early given that the after party yesterday finished at 2 a.m. I think 11 is not the best time for a keynote, but still, let's do it, this one. My name is Oleg. I'm a director of Web3 business at MOOI Network. And today I'll be talking about how we revolutionize Metaverse services and gaming economies with Web3. Before we dive into MOOI Network, I'd like to introduce the brand behind MOOI Network. It's called Kokone. So Kokone is a Japan-based avatar coordinated service play developer that's been in the market since 2008. And Kokone now has over 16 active services and 3.5 million active users across all 16 active services that they have. An interesting thing about Kokone services is that they are mostly avatar services. They utilize avatars in the virtual worlds, and the services are heavily based on the digital items. So what people do is basically take the avatar, play, socialize in those services, and buy and trade digital items for services to decorate their avatars and basically to build a fancy space for their avatars. Before we dive in a little bit deeper into the digital items of Kokone services, I'd like to talk about the market overall, because you've probably seen this news 2 months ago when there was one skin on Counter-Strike Go that sold for $400,000, just one gun in Counter-Strike. And this can actually represent how valuable some digital items are in the digital services. In case of when we are talking about the whole market, it's now worth about $50 billion, and more importantly, it's growing very rapidly. Just before COVID, in 2019, the market was worth $30 billion. So it almost doubled in just 4 years, and there are 6 billion different digital items listed on many marketplaces simultaneously, and which offers users of many services a huge array of different kinds of digital items. And Kokone is a huge player in this market. So I don't know how many of you have heard of Kokone or Kokone services. It's quite popular in Japan. It's mobile services mostly, but in Web2, Kokone has sold over 16 billion digital items in the last 15 years. You can think of about 1 billion digital items each year on average, or 3 million digital items every single day on average. And that's a very huge number. Now, I've been talking so far about the Web2 services of Kokone and Web2 market of digital items, but we all know that there is one limitation of digital items in Web2, and that's ownership. Ownership is not just about taking custody of your assets and storing them in a secure way. It's also about the network effect. I always like to give this example of car and car industry. The car is valuable because you can own it, and it gives network effect, because when you think of a car, the car industry doesn't employ just people who work on the factories who manufacture cars. Car industry is comprised of all those third-party services like taxis, like accessory manufacturers, many other services that make the car so valuable, and it's all possible because people can own the car. And it's similar to the digital assets. When there is ownership about the digital assets in digital services, third parties can actually come. They don't need a permission from anyone. They don't need the permission from Kokone. They can build a third-party service for Kokone services, for Kokone digital items, and basically make them more valuable. And understanding this paradigm shift and the demand from the users, Kokone decided to diversify its portfolio of the services, and that's how MOOI Network has been launched. So from now on, I'd like to talk about MOOI network, how we basically launched our blockchain project and what we have achieved so far in less than 1 year. So yeah, this slide is very important because here I'm talking about the missions. We have very clear missions, 2 missions that we defined before launching the blockchain. So first is we want to assist Kakone in diversifying their portfolio and onboarding some of their IPs, services, and Web3. And that's mission number 1. Mission number 2 is going beyond Kakone and actually onboarding external services and building a seamless infrastructure for onboarding Web2 services into Web3. And so far we've built quite a lot. Again, it's been less than a year. Our ecosystem, when you look at it, it's comprised of the infrastructure layer, basically our mainnet. It's EVM compatible. There are a few wallets that people can use and store their digital items there. There is a number of DeFi applications. It's a bridge, it's a DeFi swap. And most importantly, there is a hub for all digital items where basically the trade, the exchange is happening. It's our NFT marketplace called JellyMe. And here in my presentation, I'd like to talk mostly about JellyMe, and also because our achievements are almost all there, and because that's actually the one place where users come before playing the service to buy the item or trade the item and start using the services. So if you look at our marketplace, you can search it right now. It's available, people are using it. And it's called JellyMe. We have onboarded so far 7 collections that are related to 6 different services that we have also onboarded. There are 90,000 different NFTs on sale right now. And the total aggregate number of people, community, related to those services is close to 300,000 people. Now, 7 collections that we onboarded sounds quite small, right? But it's only until the moment you see how active were users trading those collections and how many transactions we've had in the last year. So during the last year, during year to date, we've seen over 250,000 transactions on our NFT marketplace. Comparing to those 16 billion items sold in Web2, that's a very small number. Again, Kakone Web2 services are selling 3 million digital items on average every single day. But when you compare it, when you see the whole market and compare it to other marketplaces, that's a quite large number. So giving you the number, there were about 20 million NFT transactions year to date so far on all blockchains. That's the aggregate number. And 250,000 of them happened on our marketplace. That means our marketplace alone, less than 1 year since launch, had over 1% of all NFT transactions in the world. And it's here important to see how we compare to other marketplaces. Relative to those big marketplaces like OpenSea and Blur, we are basically in the same league. So there are 2 metrics that people usually use to measure the success of the NFT marketplace. One is volume, another is the number of active wallets connected to the marketplace. By the second criteria, we are top 10 in the world right now. If you go to DappRadar, it's all transparent. You go to the NFT marketplace ranking, you see us in the top 10 right next to the Blur and OpenSea. And we've seen over 10,000 active wallets connected to our smart contract of our marketplace JellyMe in the last few months. We are, as I said, the top 10 by these criteria. Most importantly, we are the fastest growing among them. No OpenSea, no Blur, no other blockchain in top 10 is growing as fast as we do. We are adding users faster than them, and we've only 7 collections that we have. So you can imagine how much transactions and how many hardcore fans of those collections we have right now. And I think here, listening to all what I say, what you would ask is, how is that all possible? What are basically the takeaways? How can I do the same? And I think what we have done is not applicable to every single marketplace. We have our core strengths that some marketplaces can't relate to, but I still think it's important to highlight the lessons that we've learned and important findings that we found. So one is content is king, and just think of a new blockchain. If a new blockchain is released, we usually talk about technical specifications. We always talk about how many TPS it has, what are other specifications, how fast it is, how scalable it is. But in the end, for the end user doesn't need the most scalable solution. The end user doesn't need the fastest blockchain. For end user, it just has to be scalable enough, fast enough, secure enough. And in case of our blockchain, we do not highlight those technical specs. Instead, we focus on content. And in the end, that's about how much content you can acquire, how much content you can attract, because when all blockchains, most of the blockchains are similar, there's a very fierce competition about content. And here we are very blessed to work with a brand like Kakone, because Kakone has a very popular IP, especially in Asian countries like Japan. And we can basically capitalize on this user base, on this hardcore fan base that Kakone IP has, and have a head start comparing to other blockchains that are not blessed to have such a brand behind their back. So another is ease of use and seamlessness of user experience. I think this one is the one that everyone is talking about, but not many understand. So in fact, it's not about using easy terminology, Web2 terminology, and explaining in easy way how to use Web3 services. It's more about making it familiar, and here we try to stick to a principle that you probably know it, that was first coined by Derek Thompson in his bestseller book called Hitmakers. The principle is advanced yet familiar. So we want to make our services advanced, and we enjoy making advanced things, new things, but we still try to make them familiar. So if you go to the service we onboard, some of the things stay off-chain, and it actually gives users a chance to get to use the service before connecting the wallet, before using all those decentralized applications. And second, probably most important thing is we want to give users a chance to buy NFTs without having a token. Because for Web2 users, the hardest thing is usually downloading the wallet, getting to know how to use it, getting to know how to use decentralized applications. And to eliminate this hurdle, we want users to basically buy NFTs with the payment methods they're used to. So that's why we are now integrating NFT checkout feature, which gives users a chance to buy NFTs with credit cards, or even regional channels like PayPay in Japan. So basically users will be able to pay like they pay in any other Web2 service they used to use. Yeah, and the last one, but definitely not least, is a central yet decentralized marketplace for NFT interaction. Here I would like to highlight the word central. It's not centralized, it's central. Because what we've seen on many different blockchains, on tens of blockchains, I'm not talking about Ethereum. Ethereum is different, Ethereum has huge volumes, but on smaller blockchains, we usually see tens of different marketplaces. And I understand that competition is a driver of innovation and driver of progress, of course. But the important thing is that at the current level of adoption, when the market is too fragmented, we can't really build a profitable marketplace when there are tens of other marketplaces around. And that's why if you go to smaller blockchains, you usually see that all the fees there are much higher than on Ethereum. And in MOOI network, we try to make sure that at the inception phase, we only have one single hub where people come, where people buy NFTs, and we can aggregate all the communities of many different services into one place, so users know where to come and where to buy their service, where to buy their NFT. So in the future, we want to make it look something like this, to add interoperability not only between Web2 free services we have, but also between Web2 and Web3 services they have. So the users, the Web2 users who come to the marketplace can trade all items they want. It can be NFTs, it can be Web2 digital items, any items they want in just one place. But our vision is actually much bigger than that. So what I've been talking to you so far about is basically trying to carry out mission number one. You remember in the first slide I showed we have two missions. One is assisting Kakone in onboarding IPs they have, Web2 IPs, into Web3. Another one was onboarding 1 billion users. So far we've been carrying mission number one, trying to help Kakone head start in Web3. And so far what we've done is develop some infrastructure for all services, onboarded a few of them, made a community based on the fan base of Kakone services. What we want to do now and why we are here in IVS this week is because we want to go beyond Kakone. We want to build a public network right now with a node validator system. We want to open up to external developers, external projects who want to build on our network, build services. That's why we are now planning to offer SDK tools, a grant program for those developers. And we will start with NFT creator program that's already available on our NFT marketplace. If you go there, I'll show the QR code later. You can basically submit the form and become an NFT creator. And what we give, I showed our NFT marketplace is already top 10. We have a huge community, and what we want instead is basically the interest to build on our network and willingness and commitment to onboard 1 billion users with us and deliver value to Web2 users who want ownership over their assets. That's it for today. Thank you for listening. Thank you.
Thank you very much.